Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Peak Performers. This is episode number 13, and we're taking your questions, and they'll be answered here today. In studio today, Bree, my lovely girlfriend, is going to help us with the questions today. Bree, what is the first question?
The first question comes in from Becky in Tennessee, and Becky says, self-doubt is a killer for me. Shall I go on? It seems as this is the biggest straw that breaks the camel's back. She wants to know what to do about that.
Wow, Becky, I can't tell you how often I get this from clients. First of all, and I say this to everyone that's listening here today, self-doubt is something that affects every single one of us. You don't outgrow it. You don't get to the point where you no longer have it. It's always there. It's a question of how you manage that self-doubt and whether you live in that self-doubt. So let me tell you a little story. I decided probably about 3 months ago to start this podcast. I knew nothing about podcasting. And many of you right now are saying, I know, I've listened to the first couple episodes. I didn't know how to record them. I didn't know the equipment that I needed. I had no idea. All I did know is I had a message that I wanted to get out. And as I put together the plan, I figured out exactly what I wanted, right? Step one, I figured out a plan. And that plan was to execute from A to Z in about 30 days. Well, guess what? It took 90, 120 days to actually get up and running. And all along the way, I had self-doubt. Now the question is, or the issue really is, that self-doubt did not get in the way of me getting things done. It's just a normal part of the process. Anytime you step outside the box, your box, you're going to have self-doubt. It's just something that shows up. My clients, very successful entrepreneurs and businessmen, they have self-doubt all the time, but they don't live there. They don't let it control them. Everything that I do, I'm going to go right back to that ultimate success map. I figured out the plan. I came up with an effective strategy. I decided. I committed to it. I had a big enough why. Your why, or having a big enough why, will help you through those moments when there's self-doubt. My belief system. I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. I failed many times along the way, but when I do, I just simply get up and just keep going. This comes from Tony Robbins. If you've ever studied any of Tony's stuff, he talks about physiology, he talks about focus, and he talks about language. This is really key when it comes to self-doubt. The first is physiology. There's a great TED Talk from Amy Cuddy that talks about poses. Go listen to that TED Talk. It's amazing. She talks about how these poses done every single day starts to build confidence, starts to build self-reliance, starts to build a sense within you that you can accomplish anything. I highly recommend checking her out. You know, when you sent in the email, you said, self-doubt is a killer. Self-doubt for me is just annoying sometimes. It's just that little thing that gets in the way. Are you and I going to have the same experience when you define self-doubt as a killer? And I define it as simply as something that's a little annoying. No, we're not. It's going to be two different experiences. So the language that we use makes a big impact on the emotions and the experience that we ultimately have. Overcoming self-doubt is something that we learn. It's something that we train our minds and our bodies to do. It does not come overnight. We have to do something. I don't care what it is. Go out and do it. Build that muscle. Here's the piece that a lot of people forget. When you get something done, and I don't care if it's a little piece that goes your way, you must celebrate. I've said before, I've got a gong behind my desk, and every time I do something, I don't care how small it is, I could finish a newsletter or an email. Whenever I go by, I hit it. What it's doing is like Pavlov's dog. Ring a bell, dog gets hungry, salivates. Same thing. You're building that muscle. You're building that habit. Another strategy for overcoming self-doubt keep moving. Keep doing stuff. Just keep moving. It doesn't matter what happens, whatever comes in your way, pick yourself up, just keep moving. Build that muscle. Hustle. Hustle is really important when it comes to self-doubt. But self-doubt generally creeps in when we're not getting what we want and we start to slow down or we stop for a moment. And that's when we start to doubt ourselves. When we're constantly moving, it doesn't matter what's happening. As long as we're moving and we've got activity and we're moving towards that goal, even if we're not getting the objectives that we want, self-doubt has a very difficult time creeping in. Last night, Bree and I were at the movies, and I went up, I got some popcorn, got some water. And I said, oh, by the way, I've got this new podcast. And I made sure that I gave him a card, said go to iTunes, listen to the episodes, and if you love the episodes, leave us a great rating. Told him what it was all about. And he goes, my dad would love this. Great. I may have one listener, two listeners, and this young man may walk away with something of value that who knows what effect that'll have on his life. So hustle, hustle, hustle.
But Thor, don't you think sometimes self-doubt, and I think you said this, don't you think sometimes self-doubt is something that you never really overcome and never goes away? You live with it?
It's always there. It never goes away. It's not something you kill.
It seems like some people have a system wherein they're able to take stock of their characteristics and weigh what their core competencies are against what they may not be good at. And when something that they're not good at comes up in their life, they acknowledge it. They say, I'm not good at that. They may have some self-doubt. And then they immediately are able to shift their focus onto one characteristic or a group of characteristics they are good at. And that's helpful in managing the self-doubt. Because I feel like you do that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, just look at my writing. If you saw my writing before Bree gets a chance to edit it, you may never listen to another podcast.
Right, but writing doesn't have to be your towering strength.
It is not.
But you don't, and you acknowledge that it's not.
Exactly.
And if you dwelled on that, then you could very easily fall victim to systematic self-doubt.
Sure.
But you are pretty self-deprecating about it. You're open about it. You acknowledge to yourself and to others, I'm not good at this. And then you move on and you go right back to what you are good at. And you keep it moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's something that you wake up every day, you build that muscle, celebrate it. And I promise you, if you keep doing this, keep your physiology, keep the language, keep your focus, you'll head in the right direction. Self-doubt is nothing more than doubt where you're starting to question whether you can get something done. And I was thinking about this last night, and I decided to come back and re-record a section of this because I think I missed something. And I don't want to sound like a broken record when it comes to this, but the more I look at this and the more I execute this in my own life, I realize that this ultimate success map plays such a key role in my ability to get things done. So if self-doubt is nothing more than doubt in your ability to execute and get things done, which leads to lack of confidence, if we started executing better, if we started getting things done, that's going to start giving us the references that we can get stuff done, which is going to lead to confidence and the removal of self-doubt. So the key is to start executing. And the more we execute, the less self-doubt that we have. So how do we start executing? You've got the formula. It's the ultimate success map. Figure out what you want, come up with an effective and efficient plan, decide, commit, make sure that your belief systems are in alignment, start taking massive action, and allow enough time in order for the results to show up. And celebrate along the way. Thanks, Becky, for sending in that question.
There's another question. We have another question. You ready to do one more?
I am. You got time for one more?
I do. Okay, good. So Sally from Ohio wrote, so she wrote a little bit of a story. She says she was in the car with her boyfriend and they drove past the restaurant in which they had their first date. And that caused her to ask her boyfriend if he remembered what she was wearing the night they went on their first date. It was actually also the night they met. And he could not remember. And she wants to know, does that mean he isn't paying attention to her? Why is that funny?
Well, first of all, I don't ever remember seeing that question come through on email or Facebook or Twitter or any other channels,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it does sound very similar to a situation that I found myself in last night with
Uh,
my girlfriend.
uh-huh.
So is this Sally's question or is this your question?
Well, I don't know. Answer the question and then let's see.
Okay. Well, um, guys, I learned a very important lesson last night. I was asked as we were going by the restaurant where we met what she was wearing. And
Hmm.
instead of saying, darling, I have no idea what you're wearing, all I remember is how beautiful you were.
No, you certainly did not say that.
What I did say, and I will not say this again, and I will caution all the gentlemen out there. I tried to get through the situation as quickly and as easily as possible. So what did I say? You know what, honey, you had a great pair of slacks on and this amazing blouse,
Mm, mm, mm.
and it didn't work.
No, because they weren't slacks and it wasn't a blouse.
Well, they were jeans. They were green jeans that are
Yeah, but
very
that
nice.
green jeans are not slacks.
Well, yes, and it wasn't really about any of that, was it?
Well, no, it really wasn't. But see, here's what you missed. And then I was annoyed with you because you're Mr. Peak Performer and I'm teaching people how to excel in all areas of their life and business and relationships. Okay. So I'm thinking to myself, he's going to say something fabulous. He's going to totally remember. But here's what I wanted from you in that moment. Are you ready? And you didn't give it to me, although I will say, you do give me this many times, but on this day, you did not give me this. I wanted you to say what was true, but also positive and romantic. So if it was true that you had forgotten what I was wearing, that's okay,
Which is
right?
true.
That's okay. You forgot, you didn't know, you couldn't remember. It was true that you forgot. That's fine,
I
right?
remember what you were drinking.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that's real. You said tea. I feel like it was hot water with
Well, it
lemon. I
came in
don't.
a teapot. I was
Well,
close.
okay,
Don't I get
I'm not.
some
And I'm not.
points?
Maybe not. No, because I don't even. I'm not even sold on the idea that I was drinking tea. Okay, but moving on. I wanted you to say something in that moment, like, "Baby, I don't remember what you were wearing." Okay, because initially, right, had you said that, that would have made my hackles go up, right? How could he not remember what I was wearing? Okay, but you would have then moved from acknowledging that you didn't remember into something more lovely like, and it frankly doesn't matter because what I knew then was that I wanted to know you more. You were lovely. You have turned into being my life force, which springs eternal. And I'm so glad that I get to see what you wear every day of my life because you are in my life as my love. See, that would have disarmed me. See, why are you laughing?
Well, I'm laughing because I was thinking back to the point that you said that I actually teach this, and I'm actually pretty good at it. And even though I'm good at it, I teach it. I still make mistakes.
Yeah, you jacked it up that night.
I
And
did.
you
I did
and
jack
you
it up.
and you are good at it. And mostly you do that. But see, what I think is important is in that moment, what did I need from you? I needed you to acknowledge and then give to me some reassurance, some admiration, some romance. What you left me with by saying, I don't know what you had on, was a little bit of self-doubt
Mm.
because I thought, well, maybe he didn't, maybe I wasn't, maybe I didn't make that good of an impression, or maybe I don't remember. And even though it's obvious that I made a good impression because you and I are together now, and that was more than a year ago, it doesn't feel good to feel impressionless in a moment with your boyfriend.
Reassurance is so important for everybody in the relationship, especially for the ladies.
It's true. Is there, and I need to learn to do it for myself, right? And I'm pretty good at doing it for myself, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good, right, right. So it falls to me to do it for myself much of the time, but when I reach out to you, It's a need, right? That question is a need. I need to know from you that you find me alluring, you think I'm beautiful, you have memories of our first meeting like I do. And what you can give me, it can be true, but it also has to be positive and romantic.
Well, I'm glad that I could be the example of how to eliminate self-doubt in a relationship.
You're a good example.
Sally, thank you for your question. And I'm sure that I will do better next time.
I bet you will.
Today's question of the day. In your relationship, where are you not showing up the way you need to? Where are you not providing that reassurance, that certainty, and eliminating that self-doubt for your partner? Action? Take care of it. Take care of it now. And how often do you need to do it? All the friggin' time. Thank you once again for listening. If you've not already subscribed to the show, please go to iTunes, subscribe, listen to the shows, and then leave us a 5-star rating if you think the show was spectacular. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Our website, thorconklin.com. If you have any questions, please send them to info@thorconklin.com. Decide to be a peak performer and remember where you had that first date and don't mess that up. Until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.